This episode is an ESL listening practice for intermediate learners. You will hear a natural conversation with clear pronunciation and everyday English. No tests, no pressure, just listening. Let's start.
Hello and welcome to ESL Listening Practice. I am so happy you are joining us today.
It's great to be here.
Whether you're listening on your commute, while you're cooking dinner, or maybe just taking a walk to clear your head, we are here to be your guides.
That's right. And maybe we should clarify who exactly we are speaking to today. We are teachers and we're looking at English learning. But, well, specifically, we are talking to the B2 level audience.
The intermediate learners?
Exactly.
You know, I was thinking about this earlier, and if that's you, you're in a really interesting spot. You aren't a beginner anymore. Not by a long shot. You've put in the work.
Oh, for sure. You've survived the grammar drills.
Exactly. But today, we want to have a real conversation about a specific, relatable topic that I think almost every single language learner faces right at this stage.
It's a topic that sits right at the intersection of skill and psychology. It's the thing that can keep people up at night.
Okay, so let me set the scene for you. I want to ask you a question. You can hold a conversation, right? You can explain your opinions. You're not sitting there translating every single word in your head anymore, like you did when you were starting out.
Right. You are functional.
Yeah.
You're effective. You can navigate the world in English.
So here is the question. Why do you suddenly feel more insecure about your English now than you did when you were a beginner?
Yes. The great paradox.
This is what we call the B2 paradox. And specifically, we're talking about accents, that nagging thought in the back of your head. People understand me, but I hate my accent.
It is a fascinating problem, isn't it? You have the skills, but you don't have the satisfaction. And today, we're going to explore a radical idea.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
We're going to look at the possibility that your accent might not be a problem at all.
I love that. Might not be a problem at all. That is a bold statement. So our mission today is pretty clear.
I think so.
We want to move you, the listener, from a place of self-criticism, that voice in your head saying you sound wrong, to a place of genuine confidence. And we're going to use some great insights from the field of language acquisition to guide us.
So let's start by grounding ourselves in where you are right now. We need to define the reality of the B2 level, because I think a lot of people just don't realize what a massive achievement it actually is.
Let's unpack that, because I think you're right. Learners don't give themselves enough credit. Well, when we say someone has reached B2, what does that actually mean? What are they capable of?
It is a massive milestone. Reaching B2 means you've crossed a threshold. You can hold conversations on a wide range of topics, not just my name is and the cat is on the table.
Right.
You can tell stories. You can express emotions. You can work in an English-speaking environment. But the most critical shift is cognitive.
The thinking part?
Yes. You are no longer translating.
That is the dream, isn't it? The translation switch finally turns off. Can you explain what that actually feels like for the brain?
It's profound. When you're a beginner, the process is incredibly mechanical. You hear a word like, hello, your brain has to grab that sound, run to the library in your head, find the word in your native language.
Understand it, think of a reply.
Formulate the response in your native language, translate it back to English, and then finally send it to your mouth. It's exhausting. It's
like running a computer program that eats up all your battery.
Perfectly put.
Exactly.
But at B2, that extra step just vanishes. You hear, hello, and you just understand. You understand the concept of greeting. You're thinking faster. You are understanding real-life English, not just the slowed-down audio from a textbook.
Okay, so that feels like it should be the moment of victory. That is the tipping point of fluency. You have climbed the mountain. So why? Why is this the exact moment where people start feeling like their English is getting worse? Why does the confidence crash just when the skill peaks?
It is the awareness trap.
The awareness trap. That sounds ominous. Tell me more about that.
Well, think about a beginner. When you're just starting, what is your goal?
Survival.
Survival? You just want to buy a train ticket or order a coffee without receiving a glass of milk instead.
Right.
You are focused entirely on vocabulary and grammar. You don't care about your accent because you are just happy you survived the interaction.
Right. If I get the coffee, I win. If I get on the right train, I'm a genius.
Exactly. But at B2, you have the bandwidth to look around. You aren't fighting for survival anymore. So your brain starts doing something new.
It starts comparing.
You start listening to native speakers or fluent speakers on YouTube or in movies. And because your listening skills have improved so dramatically.
Ah, okay, I see where you're going with this. You're not just hearing the words anymore.
You hear the gap.
It's because your ears are better.
Precisely. We can call it the better ears metaphor. When you were a beginner, your ears were like an old fuzzy television set. You couldn't hear the details. Now, your ears are high-definition 4K cameras. They can pick up on tiny nuances of rhythm, intonation, and pronunciation that you literally could not hear 2 years ago.
So you hear those details in other people, and then you turn that high-definition camera on yourself.
And suddenly your accent feels too strong. You hear every missed beat. You hear every vowel that isn't quite right.
That is so counterintuitive. So feeling bad about your accent is actually a symptom that your English is getting really good.
In a way, yes. It's a sign of excellent hearing. You're noticing differences. That's a skill.
Yeah.
But the mistake learners make is interpreting that noticing as a failure of speaking. I sound worse, when in reality, they're just hearing better.
That is a huge reframing. I really hope everyone listening absorbs that. If you're noticing your accent more, it means your listening comprehension is excellent.
That's it.
But let's get into the nitty-gritty of the sound itself. In our field, there's a really critical distinction between two words that people often use interchangeably: accent and clarity.
This is probably the most important technical distinction we need to make today. Most learners think accent and clarity are the same thing.
They think, if I have an accent, I am not clear.
Exactly. But they're different.
Completely different.
Let's define them. An accent is simply the way your first language influences your pronunciation. It's the muscle memory of your mouth from your mother tongue. Everyone has one.
Right. Even you and I have accents depending on where we are from.
Of course. And clarity. Clarity is purely functional. Is the message easy to understand? Does the listener get the information without struggling?
So you're saying you can have a very strong accent.
And be perfectly clear. Yes. Think about it. We hear this all the time. You might have a colleague from France or Brazil or Japan. You know immediately where they're from the moment they speak. Their accent is heavy.
Sure.
They might say Z instead of the, or their rhythm is very distinct. But do you understand them?
Usually, yes. I understand every single word. They get their point across perfectly.
Exactly. That is a case of high accent, high clarity. Now, let's look at the flip side. Have you ever spoken to a native speaker? Maybe someone from a specific region with a lot of slang, or someone who just mumbles?
Oh, absolutely. I remember trying to ask for directions once in a very rural part of the country, and I had no idea what the person was saying.
Right.
Or even just a teenager who was speaking incredibly fast and sort of swallowing their words.
Exactly. That is a native accent with zero clarity. The learner needs to stop obsessing over the accent and start obsessing over clarity.
But that's hard to do, isn't it? Because of the perfect accent myth. I think deep down, a lot of us believe that to be professional or to be seen as intelligent, we need to sound like we were born in London or New York.
Oh, absolutely.
We have this idea that native equals best.
It's a very pervasive myth.
Yeah.
But it's just that a myth. We have to look at the global context. English is not the property of the UK or the US anymore. It's a global tool.
It really is. I mean, think about who is actually speaking English right now around the world.
The statistics are staggering.
Yeah.
Most conversations in English nowadays happen between two non-native speakers.
That's a great point.
If a business person from Germany is talking to a business person from China, what language are they using?
English.
English. Neither of them is a native speaker. Now imagine if the German person tries to put on a fake, posh British accent. Does that help the Chinese listener understand them better?
Probably not. It might actually make it harder, more confusing.
Exactly. What helps is clarity. Simple, direct pronunciation. And even among native speakers, there is no single standard.
That's such a good point. We treat native speaker like it's one single person.
Right. If you learn standard American, you sound different from a standard British speaker, who sounds different from an Australian, an Irish person, a Nigerian English speaker, or an Indian English speaker. They're all native or fluent varieties. So when a learner says, I want to get rid of my accent, the question is, to replace it with whose?
That's a great perspective. You're chasing a moving target. So if we drop the goal of perfection, what's the reality check? What actually matters for communication in the real world?
Okay.
If I want to be understood, what should I actually focus on?
In teaching, we usually look at 4 pillars. If you want to be understood, focus on these. Clear pronunciation of the sounds, correct word stress,
Word stress.
natural rhythm, and confidence.
I want to zoom in on word stress and rhythm. I feel like those get ignored People obsess over the th sound, but they ignore the rhythm of a sentence.
And that is a huge mistake. Because in English, stress and rhythm affect meaning. They carry meaning.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. Take the word photograph. The stress is on the first syllable, P-H-O to graph.
Right.
But if I change the word to photographer, the stress moves. Photographer. If you say P-H-O to grapher, a native speaker might genuinely not understand you for a second.
Because the shape of the word is wrong. Melody is wrong.
Exactly. The brain uses rhythm as a search function. If I put the stress on the wrong part of a word, it can be completely unrecognizable to a native ear, even if the vowels are perfect. But, and this is the good news,
Yes.
if you have a strong accent, but you hit the rhythm of the sentence correctly, the human brain fills in the gaps. We understand you perfectly.
So the takeaway here is a strong accent with clear speech, good rhythm, good stress, is infinitely more effective
Infinitely.
than a perfect accent spoken with fear or hesitation.
Ideally, yes.
Yeah.
But we can't ignore the elephant in the room. We can talk about mechanics and linguistics all day, but for the listener, this is emotional.
It is. It is deeply emotional. Let's move into that. Why does an accent weigh so heavily on us? It's not just about being understood, is it?
No.
It's about identity.
It's about who you are. Your accent carries your history. It carries your culture, your parents, your upbringing. It's the sound of your home. It's the muscle memory of the first words you ever spoke. When you try to erase your accent, psychologically, it can feel like you're trying to erase a part of yourself.
That is heavy. And on the flip side of that, I think people feel exposed, like their accent is a flaw that everyone can hear. And that's where the shame comes in.
Yes.
We see this shame cycle in students all the time.
This is the dangerous part. When you feel ashamed of your accent, when you feel like you sound uneducated or clunky, what do?
You pull back.
You avoid it.
You stop speaking.
You sit in the meeting at work. You have a great idea. You know the answer to the problem. But you think, if I say this, they will hear my accent and think I'm not smart.
Yeah.
So you stay quiet.
And that is the tragedy. Because the consequence of that fear is that you actually stop learning. You stop improving.
It is the ultimate irony. What is the one thing that guarantees you won't improve?
Silence.
Silence. Avoiding speaking slows down your progress far more than any pronunciation error ever could. Silence is the real enemy here, not the accent.
That hits hard. Silence is the real enemy. Because if you make a mistake, you can correct it. If you're silent, nothing happens. You're just stagnant.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You withdraw from the practice field,
Yeah.
and then your confidence drops further because you aren't doing it, which makes you speak even less. It's a downward spiral.
So how do we break that cycle? We need some practical steps. We need to help our listeners move forward. We talk a lot about this idea of improvement without obsession.
It starts with the mindset. It has to. We need to shift the motivation. Right now, many learners are motivated by self-criticism.
I need to fix this because it is bad.
Exactly. We want to move from that to curiosity.
Curiosity. Okay, what does that look like in practice? How do I become curious about my own pronunciation?
It looks like playfulness. It's the difference between a test and a game. Instead of thinking, ugh, I hate how I said that, it's, oh, that's interesting. The native speaker goes up in the end of that sentence. Let me try to copy that melody.
So it takes the pressure off. It becomes experimentation. You're just a scientist in a lab testing things out.
Exactly. And there are actionable techniques you can use. We mentioned word stress earlier. That's a great place to play. Take a sentence you hear in a TV show. Don't just listen to the words. Listen to the music. Which words are loud? Which words are quiet?
An intonation. We often call it the music of the sentence.
Yes. English is not a flat language. It has peaks and valleys. If you speak like a robot, completely flat, it's actually harder to understand, even if your grammar is perfect. So just listening to natural English daily helps a lot.
And what about that technique, mimicry? I've heard about shadowing. Can you explain how that works?
Shadowing is fantastic. You listen to a short clip of audio, maybe just one sentence, you pause it, and then you try to say it exactly the same way.
The same speed, the same melody.
Matching the speed, the pauses, and the melody. But again, the key is to do it with curiosity.
Yeah.
Can I make my voice do what their voice is doing? Not, I must sound like this or I fail.
It's like learning a song. You aren't trying to be the singer, you're just trying to sing the tune.
That's a perfect analogy. And I think we need to talk about the timeline here because people want a quick fix. They want to wake up tomorrow sounding like a news anchor.
Yes, the miracle cure.
And that is just not how language acquisition works, especially with pronunciation. Accents soften naturally over time with exposure. It's a slow process like erosion on a beach. The waves hit the rocks, and over years, the rocks get smooth. There is no deadline. You don't have to fix it by next Tuesday.
That is reassuring. So you can just let it happen while you focus on communicating. You don't have to force it.
Right. And while you're waiting for that natural softening to happen, there is one tool that is more powerful than any pronunciation drill.
Confidence.
Confidence.
Okay, we often say that confidence matters more than the accent itself. That seems like a huge claim. How can confidence be more important than the actual sounds I'm making?
Think about it from the listener's experience. Communication is a two-way street. If I'm speaking to you and I look terrified, my shoulders are hunched, my voice is shaking, and I'm sort of apologizing with my eyes.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I feel stressed. I feel worried for you. I'm focusing on your anxiety, not your message. I'm just waiting for you to finish so the pain stops for both of us.
Exactly. But if I speak to you with a heavy accent, but I'm standing tall, smiling, looking you in the eye, and I believe in what I'm saying, you relax.
I do, yeah.
You stop analyzing how I'm speaking, and you start listening to what I'm saying.
So confidence acts like a filter. It directs the listener's attention to the ideas, not the delivery.
Yes. And there's a physical effect, too, which is fascinating. When you're nervous, what happens to your body?
You tense up, your throat gets tight, your jaw locks.
And to speak a language clearly, especially a foreign one, you need flexibility. You need to move your tongue and lips quickly and accurately. If you're tense, you physically cannot produce clear sounds.
No way.
Tension produces forced, unnatural, chopped-up speech.
So just relaxing actually makes your accent clearer.
100%. Confidence physically improves your pronunciation because relaxed muscles simply work better.
That connects back to the listener's expectations, too. We often project our own perfectionism onto native speakers. We think they're sitting there judging us.
We think the native speaker has a clipboard and is marking off every error. Oh, he used the wrong vowel there. -5 points.
Right. The invisible judge.
But the reality is, native speakers rarely expect perfect English. Most of the time, they're just grateful you are speaking their language so they don't have to learn yours.
That's so true.
They value clear communication and effort. They're generally not judging the accent nearly as harshly as the learner is judging themselves.
That is a relief to hear. They just want to connect.
They want the information, they want the connection, they aren't language examiners.
So we've talked about clarity, we've talked about confidence, but I want to take it one step further. We shouldn't just accept our accent, we should reframe it completely.
Yes. This is my favorite part of the discussion.
We should see it as a strength.
What does your accent actually represent?
It's a badge of honor.
It is. If you speak with an accent, it is immediate, audible proof that you are bilingual. It proves you have more than one language operating in your brain. That is a sign of cognitive power. It's amazing.
It shows effort, too. It shows persistence. It shows you've been on a journey.
Exactly. It shows you were brave enough to leave your comfort zone and learn a whole new way to communicate with the world. That is impressive.
It reminds me of that point about professional reality. We see successful people all the time, CEOs, scientists, artists who have very distinctive accents.
Look at the global stage. The heads of major international organizations, tech leaders, world-renowned researchers, many of them speak English with heavy French, German, Indian, or Spanish accents. Are they respected less because of it?
No, not at all. They're respected for their ideas.
Precisely. Their accent does not reduce the value of their English. If anything, it adds to their character. It makes them memorable.
So if we're going to walk away with a new mindset today, we need to change the question we ask ourselves. Instead of waking up and asking, how can I get rid of my accent? Which is a negative, destructive question. What should we ask instead?
The new question should be, is my English clear and effective?
Is my English clear and effective?
If the answer is yes, you are successful. You have won. The game is over. You are communicating. That's the whole point.
That is so liberating. It stops the endless, impossible chase for perfection.
It changes the goalpost to something achievable and, frankly, much more useful.
I love that. Well, we have covered a lot of ground today. We started with the B2 paradox and ended up redefining what success even looks like. Let's just recap the key takeaways for our listeners before we let them go.
Sure. First, remember where you are. Reaching B2 is a huge achievement. You are doing great. Don't let your better ears trick you into thinking your speaking is getting worse.
Right. It just means your awareness is expanding.
Exactly.
And the distinction between clarity and accent.
Crucial. Clarity is the goal. Accent is just the flavor. Focus on being understood. Word stress, rhythm, loud and clear speech. Let the accent be what it is.
And most importantly, do not let shame silence you.
That is the big one. Silence is the only failure. Keep speaking. Even if your voice shakes, even if you mispronounce a word, keep speaking.
Because English doesn't belong to England or America anymore.
No, it belongs to everyone who uses it, including you.
I hope everyone listening feels a little bit lighter now. Your accent is not a weakness. It is evidence of your journey. It is part of your story.
Absolutely. Wear it proudly.
I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over as you go about your day. We talked about barriers to communication. We often think the barrier is the sound wave, the way the vowel sounds. But think about this. The only real barrier to your communication isn't the sound of your voice. It's the fear that stops you from using it.
Beautifully said.
Thank you so much for joining us on ESL Listening Practice. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and be kind to yourself.
Goodbye, everyone.
See you next time.